Okay, we're back again. This is the second video of It Means All That, taking one word in Spanish and seeing how it is used throughout the language, and then in turn seeing how it is translated into English. One of my favorite words, and one of the words that I had a lot of problems with when I first went to live in a Spanish-speaking country. The country was Mexico. My second country, the country which I love very, very much. Okay, I went to live in Mexico City for a good 20 years or so. Is agua. And I can remember how I only thought that the word agua was translated as water, and water has a water in a very particular way. For example, drinking water, or not even so much water like for the ocean or for the lake, because we don't normally call that water. We call it an ocean or a lake. And we don't call rain water, we call it rain. So really, when I thought of water, I just thought of water, just water that you drink. And I quickly learned that in Spanish, agua could be translated in many, many different ways. So agua is one of those words, and let me read for you again the beginning of every set of cards that deal with these types of words. It begins with a preamble of sorts, explaining what it means. It means all that, and here it is. All words are not equal. There are words in Spanish or any language for that matter which are more important and therefore used more than others. Okay, like I said before in the other video, in the first video, that you go to a dictionary, sometimes you'll see a word and there's maybe a sentence or two. You turn a page or you go to another word and you go page after page and there's the word and all its different meanings. This means that there are words which are more essential than others. These type of words have many different meanings, and they must be understood not only literally but also metaphorically. So now we're going to look at one of my favorite words in Spanish, which is agua. And let's look at all the different ways agua is used in Spanish, how it's translated into English. Okay, so agua, obviously water. That's a translation that most people learn. It's first. But agua also means rain. It also means the tide. Aguas means contaminated. Agua means drinking. Now, of course, this is all taking consideration context, okay? Aguas, water. So agua can be plural as well as singular in Spanish. In English, waters. It has to be a very particular meaning, and you have to know how to use it. Aguas, look. Tears, leak. These are all the different translations, obviously depending on the context. Fluid, and fluid is water, or at least it's a liquid. Okay, let me give you agua. Soda, fizzy water or pop. Soda, I say soda. Well, I'm from the East Coast, so on the East Coast we say soda. But for example, in the Midwest, like for example, when I went to live in Chicago, they would want to know, do you want a pop? And at first I didn't know what they were talking about, but a pop is soda, a refresco. Tea, or if you want to use very proper English, infusion. Very rarely do people use the word infusion, though. And this is the one, I can remember one time I was walking down the street, and in Mexico, and at least in Mexico City, there's a lot of apartment buildings with balconies, and women, sometimes in the morning, some of the women, and I guess some of the men, are cleaning their balconies, And if you're walking under it, and let's say the person is cleaning and they want you to watch out, or it doesn't even have anything to do with water. Let's say you're doing something and you're not watching what you're doing, and you're going to fall or something. People say aguas, aguas. And I remember in the beginning I said, what in God's name does aguas have to do with? And here's a translation: look out. In English we'll say look out, watch out, or be careful. But in Spanish, in Mexico, at least in Mexico, they'll go aguas, aguas. Of course, after a while you get used to it and it becomes normal to you. Anything of a language becomes normal. Aguas negras is sewage, which means black waters. Aguas mayores is having a bowel movement. In English you say bowel movement, or yeah, that's the best way, because otherwise it's it can be cursing. Let me see. Let's see another one. Agua. Let me see. What does that say now? Agua, or aguas abajo de, which would be downstream or downriver from. Okay, aguas arriba de would be upstream or upriver from. Okay, let me give you something maybe a little bit more interesting, like aguas negras, which would be contaminated water, which is sewage. Okay, agua para beber, which would be drinking water. Agua de consumo is water supply. Aguas ba, which would be look out below. Aguas ba, look out below. Now I never heard that in Mexico. All I hear is aguas, aguas, and I love it. Agua blanda means soft water. Okay, let me give you about one or two more. Agua bendita, which is holy water. Agua cruda is hard water, and I remember the word cruda when someone has a hangover, but that's a different story altogether. Okay. And aguas territoriales. Oh, that's hard for an English speaker to say. Aguas territoriales. I'm sorry, my Spanish-speaking brothers and sisters, if I said it incorrectly. Territorial water. You can see we don't the R's in English. Okay. Agua. Let me just see that again. Agua corriente, which is running water. I'm going to give you more expressions with agua, but in another video, because this video is running rather long, and I will also give you more videos on one word in Spanish, which has a lot of different meanings in Spanish, and is translated in a variety of ways in English. Okay, thank you very much. That's CorallaFicklin.com, welcome.com, explain.com.